Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All coming to you from a Model Y, which looks just like ours, except that we're in California and this is a Hertz rental car. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the kind of discovery of renting a Tesla as opposed to owning your Tesla. I mean, you know, just basically the difference between our Model Y and this Model Y. The first one is, and I know it won't show up on the camera, but this display, much better than our display. So ours was built in November or December of 2020. It's officially a 2021 model. Obviously, this is approximately almost 2 years later. And so there's been upgrades, but one of the definite upgrades is that the monitor, and I believe also, gosh, it's using an NVIDIA chip instead of an Intel Atom chip. So there's definite improvements in terms of the display and the smoothness of the display and things like that. The other thing, again, I'll just sort of turn around, is I love this. This is so much better than what we have. We have the piano key, thing again. So that was a very nice addition as well. The biggest thing I noticed, well, two things actually. I'll start number one with the fact that I feel like a real plebe because I have to drive one of these things. I have to use an actual key fob right now. So I looked into trying to add the car to the phone. Obviously, you can do all the integration and all that stuff and set up your driver profile and hook it up to your phone, all that good stuff. But in terms of actually integrating it so that your phone can control the car, that's pretty much impossible because it's only like a single ownership transfer. I tried to do it through my Tesla app, but it didn't work. So, so that's kind of a bummer. So it means we have to use the key fob. We could not figure out for the life of us how to lock the car when we left, because it's supposed to lock when you walk away, but it wasn't working with the credit card thing. So we ended up having to like push the button and say lock the doors and then shut the door, and that actually locked it. So that seems slightly dangerous because in case you could actually accidentally lock your key in the car. So anyway, I don't know. We'll figure that out. It's possible we just didn't walk far enough away, and also I'm pretty sure that I can, tap on the B pillar here and make that happen as well. But the really, really, really big discovery, so we drove from the San Jose airport to here in Los Altos, or basically Palo Alto, and on the highway and on the city streets and everything, holy mackerel, did I miss full self-driving. Especially in a city that I'm not used to, because I kept ending up in the wrong lane for making turns and all sorts of dumb stuff that if I'd had the full self-driving autopilot, it just would have handled all of that stuff. And so it would have been really, really lovely to have been able to test out autopilot, especially here, because this, of course, is the best place in the world for autopilot because this is where it's been trained. So it would be really cool to be able to drive FSD Beta in this environment and see just how good it is here. But, the lane keeping and everything, it's so funny because it feels like nothing. It's like, oh, it doesn't even change lanes for you and pass slower traffic on the highway or anything like that. So it feels super primitive, but then I'm like, wait, the thing's steering itself, right? So you still put in your destination and it will stay in the lane. It will follow traffic. It will do all of that stuff. And on the highway, it will obviously stay in the lane and everything, but it just doesn't change lanes and it doesn't do all that aggressive thing, like, not aggressive, but it doesn't do things for you. It doesn't drive for you. It doesn't get into the proper lane. It doesn't navigate to the places you need to go. So you have to be paying attention. So I really, really miss full self-driving Beta. It's interesting because when I drive another car, like if I rent a gas car, it's like, well, whatever. This is a Volkswagen or GM or something like that. It's whatever. It's a different car. But in the Tesla, which feels so much like our car, it was debilitating kind of not to be able to drive in full self-driving Beta. It's amazing how used to it I've gotten, and especially in an area that I'm not as familiar with, like near my house. I always talk about that. I know which lane to be in when. I know what the traffic patterns are going to be like. I know all of that kind of stuff. When I go to another place that I'm not familiar with, full self-driving Beta often is better than I am because it knows where to be, and so it actually sets itself up properly and gets into the correct lanes, and it knows the weird thing about like weird bike lanes that are in between turn lanes and regular lanes and stuff like that. So there's a lot to be said for full self-driving Beta, and I know a lot of people are currently getting it, right, because of the number of folks who are getting full self-driving Beta is going up. And also I know that a lot of people are now renting cars, renting Teslas. And so I also made, as we were in the Hertz parking lot, and I'm going to have to edit this together, so it's going to be a couple of days before it comes out. But I'm going to do a little how to rent a Tesla and drive for the first time, in a car that you're not used to, in case for people who are have never had a Tesla before and don't know, because even things like opening the door, just a little bit weird. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this for people who are kind of in the know. Obviously, I'm here in Palo Alto for Tesla AI Day 2, which is tomorrow. It's, what is it? 27 hours away from now. So I'm counting down the hours. Super excited. Anyway, me and Misinformation are here. She went into Walmart to grab something real quick, and I figured I would do a quick video and talk about the, the fact that basically driving the Model Y feels pretty much like it did at home. I drove it to the airport, and it was like taking an airplane and then arriving and getting in the same car again. Love the feel. It was a little bit annoying that I had to set up all the things myself. I was hoping, I think that eventually they're supposed to have something where it's in the cloud where the profile will automatically sync. And it would be really, really lovely if Tesla would do a thing where they would allow you to temporarily connect the car with your phone. So I know that if you can't transfer ownership fully, but there should be some sort of like car rental mode where basically what it does is you do it, it temporarily connects your phone to the car as a thing that will actually control the car, but it's hooked up to a temporary permit. So it says like for this many days it'll do this, and that could be either be something that we users could put in, or it could be that something that Hertz's reservation system puts in, where it just automatically like deletes that and removes it after the period of time that you're supposed to have rented the car. So that would be incredibly useful, and it would save us from having to have the key fob. It would also have connection, because I did miss the fact that as we were walking back to the car, I couldn't turn on the climate control and have the car cool down to a nice temperature before we got back, because, even though it's late September, it's still very pleasant and a little bit warm in the sun. So the car does get warm. So it would be really nice to be able to temporarily do that. It would also be super nice the same way if I could transfer my profile settings to another vehicle, because it did take, a few minutes to go set up the mirrors and the steering wheel and the seat position and all of that kind of stuff. There was all of these little pieces that went along with it. So anyway, definitely notice the fact that the car is a newer car. Again, this much better, much more responsive than our screen, and I think a lot of that's the graphics driver. It may have to do with the screen too. Really, really like this. Very, very nice. Very cool. I love the matte black as opposed to the piano black. I do miss our JOWUA charger, which I think is nicer. The other thing, check this one out. Check this out. Unlock glove box. And it's going to... Oh, Windows unlocked. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Anyway, I had done it before and it said you need a pin to unlock the glove box. Hold on. Unlock the glove box. Let's see if that'll actually work. I don't know what it's doing about the weird. It's being strange right now. I don't know if you can't unlock the glove box when the windows are unlocked. That's very strange. But anyway, what we noticed was that there was a pin that somebody had set. The other thing that I noticed was this, and this is something else that Tesla could probably work on, which is, notice that we have a bunch of old phones that were connected here. So it's something that Tesla could definitely do with Hertz, where again, if there was a rental mode where like after the period of time, so if you rent it for 3 days like we are, 3 days and some number of hours, or when it checks back in, or when it gets to the GPS location of the Hertz rental place, it would just automatically delete the phone and all of the records. Because one of the problems with this is that I, like many people, put in all my contacts. I'm like, sure, because that's easy, because that way I can just call somebody if I want to. But that also means that if I don't remember to delete my phone stuff, which I never remember to do, it's just all hanging out on the car. So some sort of rental mode from Tesla would be really, really ideal as they're getting more and more rentals. So yep, that's the long and short of it. Car, beautiful, feels more or less like our car, except for a little bit nicer in a couple of areas. I super miss full self-driving, but it's okay. I'm still driving a Tesla, so everything is great. And AI Day is coming tomorrow, and so we'll see how that goes. I'll be doing reporting from around there, and I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.